Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevens, your host again. And today, look at this. I've got Greg Hudson, Chief Geologist for New Age Exploration, and the ASX code is NAE. He's tucked up there in the Pilbara, and New Age Exploration, they have got a really interesting project. Again, favorite commodity, it's going to be gold. For some of you will remember back in the day, and I think it was around 2016, where a very smart man by the name of Quentin Henney was talking about how they were going to find gold in the Pilbara. And most of you remember the Pilbara was known for iron ore deposits. So when they first started talking about gold in the Pilbara, they were laughed at. You know, everyone's going, there is no gold in the Pilbara. Well, guess what, guys? De Grey Mining have got a tad over 10 million ounces of gold. Now, we're going to talk about this, but why I'm excited to bring you New Age Exploration today is no one knows that they're up there and what they're doing. And Greg has been in this industry for a long time. He's the chief geologist. He's pretty interested and excited about what's going on up there. So I'm going to leave it up to him to give you a little bit of background of who are New Age Exploration and why I want you guys to sit up and pay attention right now. So Greg, welcome to Making Money Matter. Great to see you in your high vis up in the Pilbara.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and beaming in from the Pilbara.
Love it.
I have the aircon cranking above me here at our Wagyu project. So let's talk a little bit about New Age Exploration. A junior explorer. We have projects in New Zealand, but most of our energy right now is going to our projects here in the Pilbara. We have 7 projects across the Pilbara. We also have quite prospective ground for lithium as well, but really the focus now is on our gold projects. And the 3 gold projects I've been working on mostly this year have been Brahman, Drought Master, and this is our newest acquisition, Wagyu. So I'm sure you're hearing a bovine theme there.
Not good for the vegetarians.
No, yeah, well, ironically, one of our best geologists is a vegetarian, so he's having some fun, but a pleasure to have him on board. Thank you, John, for your hard efforts over the journey. So that's New Age Exploration. We really have poured our energy into Wagyu over the last 6 months since acquiring this ground in March and fast-tracking exploration here.
Yeah, I'm talking to you in October of 2024. How did you, because I know that this project, in the introduction, I spoke about De Grey Mining, now a big company. The naysayers have now had to eat their hats because, as I said, they've got over 10 million ounces. You guys are not very far away from there, about 9 kilometers, I think, as the crow flies. Does that mean that this is a similar style deposit to what De Grey has got? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is it the same geological structure?
So thank you for the question. First, I'll just clarify, we don't have a deposit. I'm so looking forward to having one, but right now we don't. We have a project, and I bravely called it the Wagyu Gold Project before we do any drilling, and we now have done some drilling and we have found some gold. So I can say with confidence now it's the Wagyu Gold Project. Okay. In regards to De Grey, I mean, De Grey has a significant land package now in the Pilbara, grew and grew over time. But the key element of De Grey's world is their Hemi deposit, or it's so big now it actually is 6 deposits in one. And that's only 9 kilometers as the crow flies from where I'm sitting right now. The other part of your question is it the same geology? Yes, it is. We're very pleased to say, yes, it is. First of all, the Malina Formation, and excuse me for getting technical, I'm a geologist, but the Malina Formation is a large sandstone siltstone basin in which the De Grey's Hemi sits. But the key element for Hemi is these intermediate intrusive rocks. So these sort of volcanic rocks, if you like, and they have burst up through into that Malina Formation and brought along with that some of the gold mineralization. And until we took on this project, we had some hunches that we might have some of that material, but we didn't know. And it's only now that we've drilled it that we're seeing that material. And even more exciting, some of our assays are coming back with gold in that material as well. So to answer your questions, yes, we're very close to De Grey. And yes, it has very similar geology to Hemi's De Grey. And I guess the truth will be in the next round of drilling that we're doing now and beyond, as to how similar it will be in type and scale.
Did you just peg this ground yourselves, or did somebody else have this ground before you got your hands on it? Because I think, when was your first drilling? Like, did you get your hands?
Great question. Yeah, so the journey to acquire this project was the ground was previously held and still have rights to the ground by a group called Wholesome, multinational aggregate cement manufacturer, very large company. And that is because near here there are some river sands and river gravels which could be used to make cement and so forth. Now, the reality with Wholesome is that's a large organisation with 50, 100-year plans, and this material would not be used in the near term, although I'm not an economist in this space. So therefore, Wholesome were in a situation where they had this tenement, they weren't able to really progress it, and we saw the opportunity, and I should say we as in me, it was people with New Age exploration, and approached Wholesome and talked about if maybe we can have a win-win situation. That took many months of negotiation, but that came to fruition. February this year was sort of when it was agreed, and March is when things really hit the ground, if you like, and conditions precedent were met. So March 2024 is when New Age Exploration took over all mineral rights, other than those aggregate rights for sands and gravels and so forth that would be used in cement in the future, from Wholesome.
And have Wholesome come in any way, shape, or form as a shareholder?
Not at all. No, they are a silent partner. Yeah. Purely, we have to keep this tenement in good standing for their interest, but they do, to my knowledge, I just might add, as the non-corporate person within the organisation, they don't have any ownership of the project per se, or the gold rights for the project.
All right. So the focus at the moment is on Wagyu. You got your hands on it in March. You've been working on it, I assume, since then. And, you know, Greg, you've got a long history in the mining industry. Tell us why you think this project has got legs or has got gold.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I won't lie, this is certainly a junior space compared to where I've been playing for most of my career. The thing about Wagyu is it just keeps on ticking the boxes, you know, working on a null hypothesis theory of, oh, no, it can't be. We keep doing the test and keep saying yes, yes, yes. So, for example, before the due diligence process, before acquiring the project, we used publicly available geophysics, airborne geophysics, and saw magnetic anomalies. That looks pretty attractive. Yeah, there's at least 2 to 4 targets.
Let me just stop you for half a second.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Magnetic anomalies, like the treasure maps behind him.
Yes, exactly.
That just shows you potentially where there could be mineralization. Just explain it, if you could, to our beautiful audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So aeroplanes fly with magnets, very specialized magnets on board. And as they go over the ground at quite low heights as well, those pilots and the poor people sitting in the back with the instruments, they earn their money. But as they go over ground, which has a magnetic signature, which is more magnetic than something else, then it will show up as an anomaly. And in this instance, there are some rocks, particularly newer rocks, which might show up as an anomaly. And that's what we thought could have been the case. So we're seeing things which don't fit the normal pattern. Now, magnetics is also fantastic to show structures as well as new intrusions into the system. And both those things are really important when you're looking for gold. So very early on, we were like, this looks like an attractive part of the world. And that would have been the case even if it wasn't 9 kilometers away from 10.5 million ounces. That's sort of a bit of a bonus. We then undertook ground gravity survey, so a different type of geophysics, and that reinforced. Apologies,
he's on site.
Working here on site.
This is authentic, ladies and gentlemen. Love it. Love a two-way.
Hopefully they don't get potty mouthy. But no, in any case, so we then did ground gravity survey. So that's a different type of geophysics, but still geophysics all the same, where essentially fit young people walk around with an instrument and every 200 meters put it on the ground, press a button, and essentially you're measuring the density of the earth beneath you. So the more dense the rock will come up as a high anomaly. And we found during those gravity surveys over the project, 6 targets they became anomalies. Three of them were in the same place as magnetic targets as well. And that was very encouraging for us.
Okay.
So, and those targets, we then went back and infilled them. So again, we tested the ideas. Could it have this? Yes, it did. Even more excited. The next phase of our process and exploration was to undertake heritage survey, cultural survey, to make sure there aren't any artifacts or ethnographic areas of significance. It's very important in Australia, but particularly important in the Pilbara. I won't lie, heritage is something that can really hold up a process, and it's so important to have good relationships with key stakeholders. We're very fortunate at New Age Exploration, where some of the executives have had lots of experience here in the Pilbara, and I have also had lots of experience here in the Pilbara. So we sort of have a bit of a leg up there, where we have good relationships with the people who can help us assist get those heritage programs happening. And we really were able to fast track that. There are other people waiting in line who maybe have a bit of a different attitude to how they approach heritage. That's probably enough I want to say in that space, but
that's okay.
We definitely were able to undertake the heritage survey to get clearance to allow us to do ground disturbing activity, i.e. drilling, in a really short time frame. So we did the heritage in July, early July, and we were drilling by the end of July.
Oh, wow.
So no messing around. We undertaken our first phase of air core drilling. So we did 7,700 meters of drilling. We tested those 4 targets and also some structural targets. And I'm really pleased to say that we have the results for that. We announced them on the 1st of October. We have found gold in all 4 of the targets that we tested. We have found 4 significant intercepts. Now, for me, I class a significant intercept as anything greater than 1 gram per ton. Okay. And in early stage exploration, that's a pretty good indication. For us to get 4 intercepts on this first program, I was really happy. For us to get mineralization across all 4 targets was astounding. That's 4 from 4. It's pretty good. I won't lie. One of them, after we drilled it, we were looking at the lithology, the geology, and we didn't think it was that good. And it still came back with 1 meter at the very bottom of a hole.
How deep are those holes?
Really good question. So this is air core drilling. The deepest holes we drilled, well, I say the average depth was around 40 meters. Okay. So very, very shallow drilling. Air core drilling, I'll just explain, is a very simple I shouldn't say simple. That's disrespecting the drillers who do a great job, but a very early stage type of exploration, which gives you more bang for your buck. You get to do more meters of drilling for less cost. However, the negative is you really can't drill very deep. You can only drill until the ground goes hard. Right. So you're using a blade type system. When the ground goes hard, unless you elect to put a hammer on, which if you see good gear, good things at the end of the hole, you would do. But generally, you're just doing that first pass drilling. Now, just like De Grey's Hemi, this project has transported cover over the first 12 meters or so. What that means is that there is a historic fluvial system or rivers or so forth. And so the soils that you're seeing on surface, they're not representative in any way of what you're going to see at depth. Yeah. So therefore, you really need to penetrate through that. Geophysics is the first step on doing that. And then air core drilling is a wonderful follow-up. So although we're drilling on average 40-meter holes, the first 12 meters are not so interesting. We still assay, you never know. It's beyond that it gets interesting. And it's the very last few meters when you're actually getting into what we call fresh rock or bedrock, and you actually get to see as a geologist what the rocks are. Because like everything, when they get older, it gets harder to understand. And rocks are the same. When they get weathered and near the surface, it's not so easy. But when you get that fresh rock at the basement or the bedrock, that's when you're like, aha, now I'm confident we have this rock type and we can work our way back. So we've been able to do that on our first phase of drilling. And looping back to that geophysics, where we thought we saw this intrusive intermediate rock material as opposed to the fairly mundane bland sandstone that is most of this area. We have seen that in 3 of the 4 targets. And in the fourth target, which we didn't see it, we still got 1 meter at 1.3 grams per ton gold at the end of the hole. One of the things I just really want to, sorry, Kerry, I'll just keep talking.
No.
One
I
of the
just
things-
want to ask you this, if I could.
Hmm.
What is all this telling you? Is all this telling, because you said, here's the thing, Greg. I've got an audience that says, is this something that I should take a look at? And I always say to them, listen, got questions. This is not financial advice. I don't know your circumstances. But the question I have for you is, what is it telling you? This is first pass drilling. As I said at the beginning, you've been in the industry for a while. I want to know from your point of view. And again, I go back to, I remember in the day when everyone poo-pooed the fact that there was even gold in the Pilbara. It's just iron ore.
Pilbara, yeah.
Pilbara. But you possibly thought the same thing 15 years ago. Maybe you didn't.
That's a good question. I actually always believed there was gold in the Pilbara. And I worked at a mine just down the road here called Wagyu when De Grey was IPO'd. And I had a strong belief that they were on a good thing. And a lot of that is to do with significant portions of the exploration ground in the Pilbara has been locked up with iron ore players for a long time and not even given the chance to be assessed for gold.
Okay.
The other thing is when you've got Kalgoorlie and its surrounds, that's an easy go-to, isn't it? So the Pilbara is harder work. I won't lie. It's beautiful as well. I really relish the chance to come back here. But besides the beauty, the gold is undercover. It's not outcropping. It's not so straightforward. Paddy Hannon wasn't going to have as much fun here. Sorry if you don't know who that is. So, but what's
Paddy
exciting...
Hannon, by the way, guys, Paddy Hannon, he was a geo. He discovered gold in and around Kalgoorlie. And in fact, there's a statue in Kalgoorlie all about Paddy Hannon, this prospector who found gold. And pretty famous.
Yeah, he's the reason why Western Australians are so proud and relatively wealthy. I will say, although iron ore is probably bringing the wealth now, I will say Paddy Hannon, as an aside, he lost his head a few months ago. So that was an interesting news story. There's a statue of him. He lost his head. There's a statue of him in Kalgoorlie. Yeah. His head got cut off. Anyway, that's another news story.
I know we're just going off beat a little bit here, but guys, respect. Why do you do this? Don't do stuff like that.
Have you been to Kalgoorlie? I mean, it's a special place.
Anyway, let's get back to New Age.
Let's get back. So, what are we saying? Look, I can't see any reason why this can't be a fantastic opportunity. Now, I know that's going to sound cliche, but the reality is that it just keeps on ticking the boxes. We're seeing the same geology type as De Grey did around Hemi. For me, this first drilling program was critical because there's so many exploration companies that say they think they're going to go find gold. Yep. They do their first drilling program and they find nothing.
Yep.
We've gone and found gold at a pretty good grade for air core drilling, close to the surface in 4 separate areas across our project. So I'm really excited about that because clearly you'd rather have 4 horses in the race than 1.
Yeah.
So that's great. And I think I just want to emphasize it's air core drilling, and it's important to understand that you only just get to touch the surface with air core drilling. And of those significant intercepts, the 4, 2 of them have ended in mineralization. We've actually had 21 mineralized intercepts in total across the program. And just for clarification, mineralized intercept for me is something with 0.1 of a gram of ton or gold or more. It's giving you a fantastic indication that you're in the right area. And with air core, often you're actually looking at a halo above bedrock gold and so forth. So that's, again, another great indication. So, yeah, we're really happy with how that's gone. And we're even more excited to say that we're now doing our phase 2 drilling. We commenced phase 2 air core drilling before we had all the results from phase 1. Then we get the results in and we steer the rigs back to where we want it to go. And so they're out there at the moment, poor guys, while I'm here in the air conditioning, drilling away. And we're doing a bit over 4,000 follow-up meters to that. So we'll have a much better understanding of the lithology and that we are what we think we are, getting what we think we are. And we're really starting to test the boundaries of what we've had cleared as well from a heritage standpoint. So on our project, which is a great sign in that we keep expanding further and further and seeing the rock types that we like.
So I'm going to get onto rock types in a minute, but this is what De Grey with their Hemi deposit, isn't this what they did? They did air core drilling to get that discovery in the first. To me, it's, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds to me like it's, and again, apologies, but same geological structure, 9 kilometers away. It's like you got a second chance, guys. If you missed out with De Grey, take a look at this. Again, not financial advice, but how would you look at it? You're a geologist. Are you saying there's some significant similarities between what
for
you
sure.
found and what you found?
Definitely some similarities. I would say I feel like with a little brother who can learn from big brother's mistakes and learnings as well, we can definitely fast track our exploration by simply looking what's publicly available of what De Grey have done. Having said that, I probably would have pursued air core drilling as a first pass in any case, but it's certainly but there's things that I know that De Grey did that I probably wouldn't have jumped to, and ground gravity geophysics would be one of those, for example. I knew to do some ground geophysics. I would have done induced polarization. Saw that they did ground gravity. Thought, let's do that, and that's been great. So I won't lie, we've got a fantastic opportunity to fast track our development with the key learnings of our friendly neighbours, and that's been very useful for us, definitely.
Okay, running out of time. Want to ask you a couple of things. You've completed the phase 1 drilling. Is that correct?
That's correct. We completed our phase 1 drilling in early September and announced those results on the 1st of October.
Okay.
And we commenced phase 2 drilling on around the 20th of September, and we'll finish that up over the next 3 or 4 days. Really, I've come up to site to make sure we've done everything I want to see before we finish that next phase of drilling.
Do you then stop? Because I think as we were coming on camera, I asked you how hot it was up there. It's about 40 degrees. Is there a time when, because we are getting into, Australia is getting into the heat and the Pilbara gets very hot, do you stop work up there in November-ish?
Well, it's a really good question. When you say you, I mean, there are companies that work right through, and I will say, and bless their socks, that the people who discovered Hemi from De Grey, they made that discovery in early December. Oh, wow. And then kept on drilling through January, February, and so forth. But it does come counterproductive at a certain point, because you do start getting a wet season of sorts, and you do have significant rain events, and even more than that, you actually just get lightning every afternoon. So you're not getting the full potential of your drilling capacity. And I won't lie, there's also underlying safety issues there as well. We are having people working outside now in 43, 44 degree heat. That does take a toll. And I think you need to find the balance. I will say with this now will be 12,000 meters of air core drilling. We will have a substantial data set for us to look through over the summer. I would love to come back and do some RC drilling straight away as well. And that's still definitely a possibility. But I would probably err on the side of we probably can get more results or a better outcome if we take a few weeks or months now and really plan that next part of our attack. Okay. And of course, the other part is, as I touched on, we probably want to expand our heritage clearance as well, which is a great sign. So did you want to have a bit of a feel of how hot it is outside?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can't bring you a temperature, but I can try and steer the camera around just to show it is an authentic caravan. This is a very beautiful part of the Pilbara. So that's the caravan where people sleep. So, I mean, that's one positive. Apologies for it looking. But I had hoped to bring you some video from out there, but as you can see, pretty hot wind today. So 40 degrees and windy. Finally, that also brings a fire risk connotation. So there's lots of reasons not to do work beyond my rule of thumb is 15th of November, but I've done it before and I would do it again if it was required. You just need to take extra care and understand the extra costs involved.
All right. I'm going to ask you this. Don't know whether you're prepared for this one, but we're going to ask you anyway. Here we go.
Okay.
3 reasons why you think, because I looked, your share price at the moment is what, half a cent? Market cap's about 4 mil. I know you're fully funded because you've done the cap raise, so they don't need to go back to the market. That's not why they're here. But why do you think people should sit up and take notice of where you are right now?
Well, we've got the first inklings of gold. first ever pass of air core, first time anyone's drilled for minerals on this tenement. So that's a pretty good start. We've got a significant number of holes that have ended mineralization. So we have the opportunity to go back and test them at depth and show that the gold is more than just at that little section. So that's another reason why I think we've got some good upside. And I won't lie, Wagyu is definitely our main energy, but we do have 6 other projects in the Pilbara prospective for gold and lithium as well. But back to Wagyu, within Wagyu itself, we've only tested 1/2 of the tenement. We've got 4 targets that have all come back with gold. So you'd be unlucky. I can't see any reason why this is not going to develop into something, but also geologists always say that, don't they? I've been around for 25 years doing this, and I've not had something which just keeps on ticking all the boxes as we go through the journey.
All right, Greg. Well, I wish you all the best, and thanks for showing. I mean, they are in the middle of nowhere in the Pilbara, but it's gold. They're close to Hemi. And I do remember, I think it was 2019, was that right? I think that's when they found the deposit. But I remember, ladies and gentlemen, no one believed them. It's now over 10 million ounces of gold. They're a big company now, and New Age are kind of like the little brother that's getting started, but they're finding gold where no one has actually assayed for gold in the past. So watch this space. ASX code is NAE. Greg Hudson, thanks so much for joining me today on Making Money Matter.
Kerry, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.